Hello, my name is Bettina Plendl. I'm a financial divorce strategist, and I'm here today with my friend Laurel Dietz of Aliena Legal Coaching in Victoria. Hi, Laurel.
Hi, Bettina. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I think we talk about a lot of things, and we are still sometimes minding or leaving out the basics. So what is actually the difference between a separation and a divorce? I get that asked quite a lot lately.
Oh, okay. So I think separation and divorce, people use it interchangeably. But the way I look at it, if you're negotiating and mediating, you're trying to put together a separation agreement. So the separation piece is dividing up your finances, setting out your parenting plan, dealing with support. And that's the meat and potatoes of the divorce, right? The separation and divorce. So that's the hard part. So when people talk about it being difficult to divorce, that's what they're talking about. So if you can't mediate or negotiate a resolution, then you're going to court and you'll be dealing with the divorce and all of that, financial division and parenting piece in court as well. Now, the divorce on its own is pretty much just a bureaucratic change in your status from married to divorced. And
So, sorry. So people have now a separation agreement. However, they arrived at that agreement. And that is, as you said, the meat and potato of the entire process. So now they have it in their hand. However, they got there either with the lawyers or on their own. And now they want to file for divorce. What do they do?
So, well, I mean, there's many steps to this process, Bettina. And
Okay.
it's actually not straightforward. There are a number of guides online about how to do this. So it is a court application, but if you do all the paperwork properly, then you can do it without ever having to show up to court and speak to a judge. All you have to do is file the appropriate paperwork, and it comes in two stages. So we call it, first stage documents is starting the claim for divorce. Then there's a waiting period. And once that waiting period's done, then you'll finalize with all the other documents the court wants to see. And if everything's in order, the court will sign off on it, sign the divorce order, and stamp it and send it back to you, and then you're done. Like I said, it's a bit of a bureaucratic nightmare, and there's different ways you can approach going about it.
And
Online.
so can I picture you get one day after all the steps, a letter in the mail, you're divorced now, or?
Well, if only the court worked so efficiently. You do all the steps, and then sometimes if you're lucky, they will send you, I don't know if they'll send it in the mail or if they will email it to you, a copy of the divorce, a divorce order. But essentially, yeah, it's not a letter, it's just the order that you have prepared. Like, you create this document and you sign off on it, and then you send it to the court, and if they look at all the paperwork, everything's in order, they will sign that document and stamp it and send it back to you. The whole process can take about 2 or 3 months if
Okay.
nothing goes wrong. Now, like I said, very finicky, very mucky business, and there's all sorts of things that you have to get right. And so, like I said, there's online tutorials about and guidance on how to do that. So you could do it for free by yourself with, there are some filing fees. A lot of people decide to hire a lawyer for this process because it's really, as I said, very finicky. And if you don't know how to follow up and keep checking and making sure everything is following along appropriately, things can get lost, and you could be down the road several years later without a divorce, only halfway through the process and trying to pick up again.
Yeah, and I can imagine there is a lot of unwritten rules, probably how to do it properly, and things people don't know and they don't tell you in those free tutorials.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, people, it's hard to explain how to do it unless you do it all the time. And so
Yes.
there, like you've said, Bettina, there are a lot of unwritten rules about certain documents that you actually also need to file, but nobody will tell you that you need to file it. So unless just know to do it, um, you're going to send everything in, and they'll say, well, you don't have this, you don't have that, whatever. And so then you'll say, okay, well, how do I create this? What do I do? You get that, and you go back, and they say, well, you got this wrong, you got that wrong, and they send it back. And so it could be a lot of back and forth. It can take a lot of effort. So we offer a service to our clients where we do a guided uncontested divorce. So essentially we've distilled everything that you need to know, and we've written out in very plain language English into our guides, and we guide you through it. We send you the forms, send you the how-tos, and we review your forms. You send your forms back to us, we fix them up, because more often than not, people do make tiny mistakes that they don't realize are going to be major problems for their divorce. And then we send everything back to our client. They get everything filed. And if they have any bumps along the way, they can come to us and ask. And then, like I said, you know, people will pay, because even that can be too frustrating and too time intensive. People often just decide to pay for the full package so they don't have to think about it anymore. And then we just make sure that it might take 2 months, and it might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, but we will get you that divorce.
Okay. Yeah. As the process before the meat and potatoes, as you called it, that is so exhausting, and it takes often much longer than people expect it to take. And then dealing on top of that with the bureaucracy, that's another thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you want to get it tidied up, right? You don't just want to leave it, as it can have quite some impacts. And I know from a financial point of view, people need to change beneficiaries and what have you. So it is important to make those last steps, although it can be quite a long journey to get there, for sure.
It's not uncommon, I think, for people to just like do the meat and potatoes, do the separation, and just never move forward with their divorce. That changing that status. For younger people, I think it's just a matter of like, I just don't have the time, money, or energy. For older people, there's a bit more of an emotional component to changing that status, and it's more significant, I find, for my older clients. At the end of the day, regardless of whatever barrier you're facing, it's always easier and cheaper and more effective if you get that divorce when you finalize that separation. So don't waste time, push it across the finish line.
Yes.
Because like going back 10 years after your separation to do your divorce, things have changed. We're going to have to update certain things. There's going to be more effort involved to get that divorce. Also, you could die. And if you die and you're not
Right.
legally divorced, it's not that we couldn't figure it out. It's not that people behind the scenes couldn't figure it out. It just, things are more complicated if it's not done, right?
Yeah.
If your T's aren't crossed and your I's aren't dotted, it makes it much more of a headache for your beneficiaries or your loved ones that you leave behind. So I think make things simple, clean things up, make sure your affairs are in order. And then, it leaves you also open to be able to start new parts of your life. If you decide to have
Absolutely.
a new
It's not
partner.
hanging above your head and you think, oh yeah, I should get this done. We all have a long list of those, and there's significant and not so significant, but getting that tidied up is potentially one of the most significant. Well, thank you, Laurel. That was really awesome. And I think it's something nobody really thinks about. They just say, oh yeah, we filed for divorce. It's not, yeah, it's like get it done right and get help with it.
It takes a lot harder to apply for a divorce than it does to get your marriage license.
Okay. So think twice. Okay. Thank you, Laurel.
Thank you, Bettina.